Hey boos, in this video I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. Oh, hell no.
Hi guys, it's Yanni here. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Fantasia and her husband, Mr. Kendall Taylor. Is Fantasia's marriage the exception to the rule when it comes to the hypergamy lifestyle? So first, let's start off with the video, the interview that went viral all over social media. It hit the shade room. That's when Fantasia received a lot of backlash from women, of course, because they hate the word submission or submit because it's triggering. It reminds them of how men can be controlling, and a lot of women didn't like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video that went viral on Instagram, the little small clip from the Breakfast Club interview on what she had to say.
What does that mean? You can't be a leader? Because a lot of women look at it like, no, I could lead in my household. I could do this in my household. What does that mean?
That's not how it's supposed to be, and that's why we bump heads. And I feel like it's a generational thing. And we could talk, we can go real deep on that, and I don't need to start that, but it's a generational curse. And how society have placed our men. And women have to stand up and be the mother and the father and the provider. And so then now you are so bad, you can't be told nothing, that when the right man come, you lose him because you're trying to be the man. I was finna say,
right,
man.
Can we be equal?
Oh, of course. Because at the end of the day, I'm the neck, my man's the head. So he can't make any moves without his wife. You know what I mean? It all works together. But you can't be the head of the house. You got to let the man be the head of the house. But it's a generational thing, and it's what we've been taught. To stand up, be strong, be the, you know what I mean? And a dude come and everything about you is like a man.
Now, what I got from her interview, and this is the key thing, being that she is a Christian. She is a Christian woman. She walks by faith, not by sight. I know exactly what she meant by what she said when it came to submitting and submission. It's easy for a woman to submit to a man who's being led by God. Not being led by these rappers and their lyrics, not being led by a certain type of lifestyle that you see on Instagram, but that it's being led by God. Not being led by money, materialistic things, but it's being led by God. It's easy, it's simple, it makes sense. Because this man is being led by God. If you are not a religious person, if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the Christianity religion, it's understandable as to why you were triggered by what she had to say. But if you are being led by God and you do walk by faith and not by sight, what she said made total sense. So let's go ahead and take a look to see what she had to say regarding the backlash. But this time, instead of her speaking on the situation, she allowed her husband to step in and speak for himself and also give his side and his male perspective on her interview. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay. So, we talk a lot. I just got home. He just got home. We were in New York for Fashion Week, and then he had to fly out to go speak at the prisons, and I had to continue to keep working. So I went up to the Breakfast Club, and I enjoyed it, and
proud of you too.
Thanks, babe. We were just wrapping it up and talking, and I was speaking. Yeah. So when I got back home, he had kind of said something that piggybacked off what I was saying, and I thought it was so dope coming from the male perspective that I felt like the male and the female should hear. So
here's the issue. Submission is supposed to be a beautiful song and dance between two lovers. What's happened is men have abused that power. Forgive me, they've abused that gift. And we have been misled to think that it's something where it's a dominant spirit and we own every decision, we dictate everything, we rule with an iron fist. First of all, that's not love. What happens is, in my marriage, let me not speak for everybody, my marriage, I submit daily to the Most High. I stay in my scriptures. I continue to feed myself with things that help me build my character, to reshape my perspective that was messed up in the streets and dealing with different propaganda and programming and things like that, so that I can come to my wife from a pure position. So when I do that and she sees me and she witnesses over time that it's an authentic demonstration, her heart is moved and softened and compelled to submit to me. What does that look like? That doesn't mean that I dictate every decision. I don't walk around the house saying what we're going to spend, how we're going to do it. We talk and we build. And I consider everything that's on her heart, her perspective, her position, her philosophy. I'll carefully weave that into my philosophy to figure out what's the best move for this family, keeping all of that in mind. Now, the moment I start to step outside of righteousness and I start to move from a place of emotion instead of analytics, she has every right to snatch that back, because submission is a gift. When she sees me laying at the foot of the Father, she has no reason to withhold that from me. The problem is this: men are not found in positions of leadership handling it with integrity. How you gonna lead your wife if you can't balance a checkbook? If you don't know what's going on in the stock market, you don't have a sound understanding of the finances, you can't create a budget, you don't understand what's going on in the educational system in your community that's impacting your kids. In order to lead, you gotta be so far ahead of your family that by the time they come to you with a situation or a problem, you've already dived into it, done your due diligence so that you can give leadership. You don't lead from your genitals. You lead from a gentle place of understanding. And the more she trusts, the more she can let go of things that she don't have to deal with and focus on the things that edify her. It ain't about money. We both hustlers. It's not about a dollar for dollar thing, because we're one unit. If I fall, she falls. If she falls, I fall. Submission is solely about trust.
I think when women hear the word submission, we're like, what? Submitting. With my husband, like he said, to piggyback off what he just said, it was what he demonstrated. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't come in and say, all right, like he said, the budget is this for that, this is and the third. I watched how he did things. I watched how he budgeted. I watched him, and then I slowly became him, and I submitted in that. Yeah, now I think I'm more frugal than him, and that's not even being like gotta be frugal because we don't have it. It's just being smart. And the word, if you dig deep in the word with your partner, you'll start to see a lot of things that we're talking about. But yeah, I like that he broke that down, because I'm a very strong woman. I like what I like. I'm very strong. But when it comes to allowing him to cover and lead this home, I sit back and allow him to do that, and it makes me better. Wow, that like.
Lead by example. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you want your wife to be humble, walk in humility. If you want your wife to forgive you, be quick to forgive. If you want your wife to consider, following you down a specific path, prove to her that you got the blueprint and that she's not following you to some unknown destination. My wife don't have to follow anything that she don't see me demonstrating. So master the thing before you go out and try to teach it. It's like sometimes you see cats, as soon as they get a book and they read something, they start running trying to teach people on it, but you haven't applied it and gone through the proving grounds of being able to master that information yourself. So leadership is a forward-thinking thing. And when you do that, women's natural instinct is going to be to trust, to be able to submit their hearts. But again, this ain't a dominant thing. Nah. And I want my wife cold as me, because if something ever happens to me, she don't like having that conversation. Say that. If something ever happens to me, she need to know how to get that bag. She need to understand where the money's at. She need to know how to ask the right questions. I ain't telling you to ask nobody nothing. You tell them what belongs to you. She can't do that if I'm controlling everything. So my wife needs to be a direct female reflection of the man that I am. Facts.
Come on now.
You come on.
I always said the wise woman once told me, the older women used to tell me, stop, boy.
What up?
The woman is the neck and the man is the head. And without the neck, the head can't move.
Two heads is just a head, but see how that works.
So yeah. And I'm going to end it with this. We ain't perfect, and we ain't trying to be perfect. We still growing. And we just want to share that with all those out there that's still growing and want.
And get clarity. Don't be trying to twist my wife's words up at the end of the day, because I'm proud of her for standing.
They try to do that?
Man, whatever to them. At the end of the day, we want to make sure there's clarity to what she said and the understanding, and be able to hear the force behind what she is saying, so it don't get tangled and twisted. It ain't for everybody. Do your thing. But for women out there who truly desire that, and men who want to step up to the call, we just want to take time out, make sure we bring clarity to our demonstration, and hope that it's fruit for you in your lives, and watch how God bless. Straight like that.
Mine.
Salute.
Is Fantasia's marriage the exception to the rule when it comes to the hypergamy lifestyle? And the rules and the strategy that goes behind trying to attract or get that lifestyle? Is it the exception? And I'm really hoping the mothers, I'm gonna call them the mothers of YouTube. I got this from Pose. I really would like some of the mothers of YouTube to break down their unique situation, because it's very unique. There's a lot of uniqueness that goes on between them and their union, and I just wanted to point them out. So I'm going to be pointing them out, and I'm also going to give you my opinion at the very end. So the first thing that I feel could possibly be the exception to the rule is that their marriage was founded by God. If you're not a religious person, again, if you don't believe in God, again, you're not going to be able to relate to this. How do you know God did not bring them together? So when you speak on a marriage, a union that was founded on God and that is being led by God, the center focus is God, is that the exception? So my next point that I wanted to make, he's an average Joe type of guy. He makes a decent living. He's the COO of a metro transportation business. He makes anywhere between, based off of my research, he makes anywhere between $140,000 a year to $200,000 a year. That does not include any investments that he may be making on the side or savings that he may have on the side. But based off of my research, that is how much he annually makes a year. That's decent. That's not terrible. And the reason why I say it's not terrible, Fantasia is a woman that grew up in the industry. She went through a phase where she dated a bum, got her pregnant at 16, she dropped out of school, she became illiterate. Then she upgraded herself, dated an NFL player. I believe he cheated, things didn't work out. She dated Young Dro, a rapper. Again, a man with money. For whatever reason, things didn't work out. They ended up being friends in the end, but things still did not work out. Then, after Young Dro, she dated a bum again. I don't know what made her do that. She dated a man that was legally married, but he was separated, and he worked for AT&T, I believe, and he was a store manager. I don't know what made her slide all the way back down to that. So after she dated the AT&T guy, she ended up getting pregnant by him, had a son together, and after that, she really stayed to herself. She even went through a phase where she married herself. She bought herself a ring and everything, and she was content at that point in her life with being by herself and working on herself, focusing on herself, growing up and leveling up. I believe like maybe a year or so later, she met her now husband, Kendall Taylor. He's an average Joe man, but he still makes a decent living. If she wanted to quit singing and she wanted to just be a stay-at-home wife, she could still do that with his salary. And this is what I'm not understanding about some of the videos that I've been watching, because I'm just like, this man, don't try to make it seem like he's a bum, because he's not. What we not about to do, this man is not a bum. Just because he's not making as much as her, which is $3 million a year, that's her net worth. She makes about $3 million a year. Doesn't mean that just because she makes $3 million and he makes $140,000 a year or more makes him a bum, because he's not. Let's not do that. I think the reason Fantasia didn't really focus or put a lot of emphasis on money when it came to him was because she had lost everything at one point. She was going through a hardship, and it had to do with taxes. I guess the IRS was after her, and she lost everything. And I think during that period of her life, she realized that money, it really comes and it goes. And that is another thing that I feel is being overlooked when it comes to Fantasia and the uniqueness of her marriage and her union. Another thing, he has changed his life around. He mentors in his community. So he does mentorship for men who have gone through things that he went through that were very similar to, you know, his troubling past. So not only is he an average Joe man that makes a decent living, he just doesn't make as much as her and doesn't have any fame he's also a leader within his community. And I think that's being overlooked as well. Another thing that I wanted to point out, he came from a troubling past. He was convicted of assault. It shows that he failed to pay child support at one point in time within his life. But he made major changes and changed his entire life around prior to meeting Fantasia. So he didn't drag her through the mud. He didn't lead her on. He didn't put her through struggle love. He got his life together prior to meeting her, which is another thing that really stuck out to me. The last thing that I could not help but notice, he elevated her spiritually. He elevated her mind. And for a man to be able to do that, you are rich. For a man to elevate you spiritually, you are rich. You can just tell with her aura, the way she carries herself now. It's just different. She's emotionally and mentally stable, and she's healthy. This is the healthiest I've ever seen Fantasia. She is snatched. I was on her Instagram. I'm like, girl. So these are points that I wanted to make when it came to the uniqueness of Fantasia in her marriage and this man that she's with. Do not compare him to Kenneth Petty, Mr. Petty, Nicki Minaj. Their situation is completely different. I want the mothers of YouTube to really explain this to me, because I don't feel like she's dating a bum. I don't feel like he's a bum, in my opinion. Now, I will say this though, when it comes to their situation, Fantasia is the breadwinner, and I just wonder how this is going to play out, because a lot of women, the mothers of YouTube, they claim and they say that a man will get very jealous and will start competing with his woman if he's not the breadwinner in the household. I would love for you guys to comment down below. Did you grow up in a household where maybe your father wasn't the breadwinner? How did that play out? Do you know someone who is married to someone or is married to a man who is not the breadwinner? What do you see when you look at them in their marriage, their relationship? Comment down below. That is the only thing that I can say, you know, maybe she shouldn't have married him. It really depends on the man. Can he really handle her being a breadwinner? It just comes down to that. But she seems very happy. She doesn't seem like she's stressed. She doesn't seem like she's overworking herself. She seems more relaxed and more poised and more into her feminine aura. She's more tapped into her feminine aura. I don't feel like she's trying to do too much. I just feel like her approach when it came to the Breakfast Club interview was wrong and it was off, because it, you know, it did give vibes that, oh, I have a husband now and you're single, and the reason why you're single is because, you know what I mean? That's a vibe that I got from her Breakfast Club interview, and I think that's why so many people took it so negatively. I can't help but notice that she seems very, very happy. She doesn't seem stressed out. She seems like she's being loved. She's being elevated, and it's just, this man doesn't make as much, but he still makes a very good living. And I think that's really being overlooked when it comes to this situation. When it comes to the hypergamy life, are we just going to be all about strategy, all about money, all about materialistic things? Where does God fit in with that? I have yet to see a video on YouTube when it comes from the mothers of YouTube and the hypergamy life. I've yet to see them speak on God and the hypergamy lifestyle. I would love for them to speak on where does religion fit in, or where does God fit in. Another thing that I wanted to point out, Fantasia met this man about 4 or 5 years ago. They've been married for about 4 or 5 years, I believe. And her daughter, Zion, was in her teens when they met. So to find a man as a single mother to have around your daughter when she's a teenager, that's trust. That's hard to find. That was another thing that really stuck out to me that I feel could be the exception to the rule. It's hard trying to find a man that you can trust to be around your daughter, your growing, beautiful daughter. It's very hard to find someone that you can really, really trust. And I think that's being overlooked as well. So again, my question, is Fantasia's marriage the exception to the rule when it comes to hypergamy life? Where does hypergamy and God fit in? How does that work? Where does it fit in? I would love the mothers of YouTube to do a video on this. And if a man is being led by God, it's easy to submit. But if you're not into God, if you're not into living by faith, not by sight, then her message, her interview wasn't for you. And that's how I view that interview. Again, when it comes to me and my life and what I want for myself, I'm going to take the things that resonates with me and my beliefs, my values, my morals, and I'm going to apply that to my lifestyle and the lifestyle that I want. It doesn't fit in a picture perfect photo. It's not the white picket fence, the perfectly cut green grass. It's what I want, and it's very unique. And I feel like Fantasia's situation is very unique, seeing that she's famous and she's in an industry where people don't have a lot of integrity. You can't trust them. People are all for themselves. She found a man that's for her. I would love to see Nicki Minaj with a man like this. It just seems like Fantasia's situation is very genuine. He wanted to sign the prenup. Fantasia did not. He stepped up and said, you know what? I want to sign the prenup because I want people to know that I'm in this for you. I'm not in this for the fame or the money. These are questions that I have, basically. Like, he's not a bum. He's not a petty, okay? He's not a bum. I would love your opinion on this video. Comment it down below in the comment section. And also, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. I'm here to bring you balance, okay? Balance. And also for you to choose the life that you want. Don't just go off of what other people are doing, what other people are saying. The hypergamy life is based off strategy, and I understand. I think it's great to tap in and take in that information when you're dating, but at the end of the day, you have to make choices that are best for you and your situation, and everyone's situation is going to be unique. And at the end of the day, you need to do what is best for you, and you need to do what is best or what correlates with what you want for yourself. So that's all that I have regarding this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I upload, and I'll catch you in my next one.